So here we are, we're here in the glass studio working on the light box. So, you know, and this is probably my most favorite part of cutting the glass is being able to work on the light box, and you can see what the light box does to the glass itself. So what I do when I'm cutting patterns on the light box is first, well, just with any project, but I've already stripped out the 6 colors that are in this bottom section, 6 shades of green that are in. So we're using this light amber green / really pretty Kokomo glass because the leaves have light behind them that are hanging down into the blue or the light pale blue sky area, which is actually this shade right here, and you can probably see it as well. I'll set that so you can see how these leaves here will light up and just perk up and light up inside the window. So we're going to set the blue over there because we've already cut all the blue out for this and we didn't need to use the light box. But what I want to show you is right down in here, like this is blue, this is blue, this is blue. So we're going to take these nice leaves and where the light's coming back from the tree and they're hanging down by themselves, that's going to light them up and make them really pretty. And as you can see as well, we're going to have some thick lead coming down out of the top of the next panel down into this window. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to take just a moment. I'm going to take a strip of this glass, and I don't want to take the strip that says the part number because I'll always want to know what this is. This is a beautiful section of glass right here, and then as we change colors, you'll notice things will change a little bit inside the window. Now the lighter colors and with light behind them will go down near the bottom, and the darker green and the variants of colors and textures will all go to the top because now we're starting, if I can do it backwards, we're starting, this panel is all the way over here and now we're coming up this way. And before we get to the panel that's above this one and the other one, we're going to be painting a night green heron and also a Carolina wren that's going to go into the window. So we're really excited about that. As you can see, our pattern is numbered and it's also blackened in with our Sharpie. Now we have used our fatty Sharpie or our chisel tip Sharpie to make a little bit wider lines so that we can change the size of the lead in order to give our window character and make it look like it's supposed to. So now we have all these little leaves here that are part of the leaves kind of just hanging down below the oak tree, and what we want to do with those is we want to finish getting those cut out, and then we're going to change our colors up a little bit because the rest of the colors are very dark and everything. So we have our, I'm going to just reach over here, we have our moss cut. And you can see how that's going to lay right in there. I'm sure that you can. It's absolutely beautiful glass. Okay. And it's got a little bump in it. I thought it was under my pattern, but it's not. But that's okay, you know. We'll be able to float this because we're using the number 2 or what's called a deep heart cane. So we're using that, and it should be fine because the window is going to be just that special. So anyway, this is our moss. That's all cut. We've added a different color in for the moss because now we're going up and away into the rest of the window. So we've already got this and this cut, and when you're cutting on the light box, your black line here represents the center of the lead. So by using just a regular Sharpie, that gives you the exact size that you need, and you need to make sure when you're cutting inside that black line, stay right on the inside of that black line. Don't get close or get far away from it. Every time you deviate off of that line, the next piece of glass may not fit. You may have to trim it, or worse yet, you may have to recut it. So anyway, here we go. You can see this right here. Barb's probably going to get a close-up. I'm cutting number 62. So I am cutting directly inside my black line. And if you notice, I'm not stopping mid-stroke. I am just moving forward. And now we're going to break this off right here. Okay? Glass on top of your knuckle on your index finger, thumb on top, pull down and away. So here we go right here. We're going to pull the rest of this leaf out. Okay. So we have a special project we're using all of our scrap for from this job. And this is number 62, y'all. So when Barb comes over here and sees this with the camera, then you'll be able to tell. If you just take your time, it's not a race. It's not a race. If you take your time all the way up until the fabrication process will be very easy. So we're done with number 62. So what do? We take our marker, number 62, and we X that out, and we'll start stacking our colors over here. So next, we're going to come over here, and we're going to do it again. We're probably going to do this, let's see, 157 times of different cuts. But this maybe give you a little bit different angle of what our pattern looks like as well. So remember, these colors here are colors that are under the tree and the light's coming through them. They're much lighter greens than the other greens that are going to be above it and around it, because inside the tree, of course, is darker. Okay. So, and I'm not grabbing it right on the very end. I'm coming in on my score about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. And we knew, guess what? That's its weakest point because I'm pulling down and away. But we go right there just in front of it, and there's our score for number 79 right here. So we want to make sure that we mark the pattern as we cut it. Don't think that you can remember what you've cut, especially if you haven't put a number on it. So just remember, the inside of that black line is one side of your lead. The outside of this black line is the other side of your lead. And if you take your time and cut them correctly, that's all you have to do. Take your time, cut it correctly, and your job is way easy. So now what I'm going to do, you just see me just flip that glass around, because now you can probably see it. There's a nice little light amber streak running right down the middle of that leaf. That's going to create a little bit of light for us now that we're moving into that end of it. So our night heron, y'all, is the green heron, and it has an iridescent side to it. So we're going to be working on that project here pretty soon. But right now, I'd like to just kind of show you how this all kind of sets up here. And we're just inside these black lines. And that's exactly where we need to be so that everything fits. Number your pieces, X amount. Nothing worse than having 3 or 4 pieces of each size because you forgot to do what you're supposed to do. So we're changing colors, and you can see this right here. We're changing colors a little bit because I just want to have a little bit of a different shade of green right here, kind of like this leaf is just opened up and it's not quite, well, I can't say ripe because we're not going to be eating this, but so remember, while you're cutting your glass, have fun with it. And take your time. The more time you take cutting your glass, the less time it takes to fabricate your window. We're going to set those over there. And now we're going to grab just a small piece of this green. And you know, like we talked about, glasses have two sides. Sometimes both sides of those glasses are smooth enough that you can cut. However, when we get ready to cut our textured glass, what we're going to do with that is we're going to actually turn our pattern over so that the texture, so that we can cut on the smooth side, and then when we fabricate the window, the texture will be up or out so that people can see it. And we want to add that dimension with the texture, the lead, and you know, I really can't say it enough. Well, I probably could for you, but I really can't say it enough because it all makes part of what you're doing. You know, this is part of you, your window that you're building, or when you're working on the light box. This is all part of you. You know, it's all. I say it's all part of you because it is. So you can see that those lines are just right, the glass is just inside that line. Okay? And that's how it's, you know, how it's going to be. And I found that so that you know which way the glass goes that you cut it, because you know you're going to have to flip it around. But so that you know which way the glass goes, put the glass right on top of the pattern and put the number in the exact direction that the pattern is, that the glass is, and so that when you lay it on top of there, that number lays right on top of it. So you're not putting it upside down, so I think you can see what I'm saying when we're adding different shades of these glasses. This is the one that we've been using over here. And now I just grabbed a different shade of green off of the table, and we're gonna mix it in with these other colors, and we're also going to start adding greens that are going to add to the density of the tree as we go up through the top. Okay? So my light box is just a little bit bigger than normal, but you know what, I really don't know what normal is because I've always had a big light box, because you want to be able to see what you're doing not only while you're cutting your glass, but you want to be able to see what you're doing while you're trying to fit the glass and see all the different colors that may or may not be stacked up, so that we can make a really interesting design here. And again, you know, this is really working on the light box. I can turn the glass any direction that I want. I can make sure that one piece fits into the other. I can also make sure that the piece that I'm cutting looks good with the piece that I just cut previously. So like, we want to set that right there. And we know that this goes right here. And you see that contrast between those two colors. And then this color, this lighter color is probably right here because I was working on this earlier. So we're just going to take, just like we do every time we cut a piece of glass, we're going to number it and we're going to exit. Number 43, number, exit. Okay. So now as we're coming up these sides here, we're going to be changing some colors of glass. We're adding a new color into this panel. It's just another shade of green is all it is. And we are also really just enjoying being able to work with these beautiful colors on this just gorgeous project. Again, when you're cutting glass on the light box, you're in control of what happens with the light. And a lot of times when people were doing paintings, their patterns would actually be in the window, and they could attach the glass that they were going to trace onto with wax, and then they could trace it and trace those black lines so that they had a beautiful light. Just like, actually, we have beautiful light here in our studio in the front, and it's just like crazy. As you can tell, I have these beautiful blue curtains, but if I do this, it reveals one of the windows from the Live Oak project. But also, I want you to see the light that comes in this room if I want it to. When we're fabricating windows, there's nothing more natural than the natural light that we get from our building facing the direction that... Now, this is east. That's west. North is behind Barb. And we have a nice southeast facing window all day long. It's awesome in our studio. So I'm going to close this curtain back. Guess what we're doing? We're cutting glass on the light box today. We're working on the Live Oak project, and it's exciting because it's another panel, part of this great big window, number E.